When most women cross the milestone of 60, they often find themselves caught in a silent tug-of-war with aging. The mirror becomes a place of scrutiny. Every new wrinkle feels like a betrayal, and the first hint of silver in their hair can spark hours of worry. Many spend more time than they'd like wondering whether their bodies still measure up to the impossible ideals constantly paraded by society. Meanwhile, the quiet truth is that the men they hope to connect with, mature men who have already lived decades of experiences, are not focusing on the crow's feet or the shape of your waistline. What captures their attention is far more meaningful, and for most women, that realization is both surprising and liberating. Here's the secret. When older men meet you, they are not scrutinizing your appearance the way you fear. Instead, there are 5 very specific things they notice right away, and none of them have anything to do with how young or flawless you look. In fact, these 5 qualities are so powerful that they can determine, within moments, whether a man sees you as someone worth getting to know more deeply. And the beautiful irony is this: most women don't even realize they already possess these qualities in abundance. All that's needed is to let them shine. Welcome back to Wise Advice for Elderly. Today, we're diving into the 5 qualities that instantly stand out to older men when they meet you. These are not tricks or gimmicks, nor are they about trying to manipulate anyone's perception. Instead, they are the genuine traits that come from life experience, from weathering storms, from cultivating wisdom and authenticity. Once you understand them, you'll see that you already hold within you the keys to attracting the right kind of mature man. And when you know how to bring these qualities forward, your entire outlook on dating and relationships after 60 will change. So, before we begin, take a deep breath and let go of the thought that your value depends on covering grey roots, hiding your age, or competing with women who are younger. You are not in a competition. You are in a season of life where the qualities that truly matter, the ones that promise peace, joy, and genuine companionship, are the very qualities that only grow stronger with age. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most immediately powerful one. Thing number 1, your energy and emotional presence. The first thing an older man notices isn't your hairstyle or your figure. It's the energy you bring into the space, the emotional presence you radiate, and the feeling you create in those first few moments together. Maya Angelou captured it perfectly when she said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." By the time a man reaches his 60s, he has lived long enough to know that outer beauty alone cannot sustain a meaningful connection. He has encountered stunning women who left him drained, women with youthful faces who carried chaos, and relationships that made him feel older rather than alive. What he longs for now is not perfection, but peace, not glamour, but joy, not youth, but warmth. Consider Robert, a 68-year-old retired teacher who shared how he met his partner, Linda. The moment she walked into that coffee shop, he said, something shifted in the atmosphere. She wasn't the youngest or most glamorous woman there, but she smiled warmly at the barista. She carried herself with comfort and ease, and it felt as though she brought lightness into the room. I found myself drawn to her before I even really looked at her appearance. This story is a reminder that what you project emotionally often speaks louder than your physical features ever could. Older men notice quickly whether a woman walks into a room radiating confidence or insecurity, whether she exudes openness or defensiveness, whether her spirit feels at peace or weighed down by unresolved battles. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect in your life. It's about showing that you've cultivated resilience, self-awareness, and a sense of joy in who you are. By your 60s, life has likely handed you both triumphs and struggles, and it is the way you carry those experiences that creates your energy. Mature men subconsciously ask themselves one question when they meet a woman. Will time with her add to my life, or will it drain me? Your energy answers that question before words are exchanged. The insight here is powerful. It's not your figure or your hairstyle that determines attraction at this stage. It's the emotional climate you create. Do you bring calm, optimism, and curiosity, or do you bring bitterness, exhaustion, and guardedness? The good news is that emotional presence is not about perfection. It's about choosing to nurture joy, gratitude, and acceptance in your daily life. That energy becomes your most magnetic trait. Thing number 2, how you treat other people. If energy is the first thing men sense, then the very next quality they notice is how you treat others. This is not just about how you treat them directly, but how you interact with the people around you, the waiter at dinner, the cashier at the grocery store, or even a stranger who holds the door for you. These seemingly small interactions reveal your true character in a way that words alone cannot. And mature men who have often lived through decades of relationships, divorces, or disappointments are wise enough to pay attention. Carl Jung once observed, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Older men understand this deeply because they've seen how small patterns of behavior often reveal larger truths. They notice if you become impatient when someone makes a mistake, if you're dismissive of someone who has nothing to offer you, or if you treat people with consistent respect regardless of their role. To them, these details are not trivial. They are windows into your heart. David, 65, shared a story about his first date with Margaret. Their server was having a rough day. The order was wrong, water spilled on the table, and mistakes kept piling up. Instead of sighing, rolling her eyes, or criticizing, Margaret responded with patience and kindness. At the end of the meal, she even left a generous tip. David recalled, "That's when I knew I was sitting across from someone extraordinary. The way she treated that young man told me everything I needed to know about her spirit." This resonates because men at this stage of life know that eventually they too will need kindness. They will have days when they are not at their best, when illness, fatigue, or simply the challenges of aging weigh them down. They pay attention to whether a woman is compassionate toward those around her because they understand she will bring that same kindness, or lack of it, into the relationship. So ask yourself, how do you show up in everyday moments when no one important is watching? Do you extend empathy to the grocery clerk, patience to the person in line, and respect even when others falter? Mature men are noticing these things more than your choice of outfit or your shade of lipstick. And for good reason, because in the long run, these qualities determine whether life together feels nurturing and uplifting or heavy and strained. Among the most compelling qualities a woman can possess, especially after 60, is the way she relates to herself. This is not about how she looks in the mirror, but about whether she has made peace with who she is, whether she speaks to herself with kindness, and whether she radiates the quiet confidence of a person who genuinely enjoys her own company. Men who are older have lived long enough to recognize that the most exhausting relationships are those in which a partner is constantly seeking validation, apologizing for her very existence, or criticizing herself in ways that demand endless reassurance. Eleanor Roosevelt said it best: "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." By the time a man reaches his 60s, he does not want to become a permanent lifeline for someone else's fragile self-esteem. He longs for a partner, not a project, someone who has done the inner work of self-acceptance, who knows her worth, and who carries herself with a sense of grounded presence. Thomas, a 69-year-old widower, once explained what first captivated him about Susan. "What struck me immediately," he said, "was that she never once put herself down. She didn't make self-deprecating jokes. She didn't fish for compliments, and she didn't apologize excessively. She seemed genuinely comfortable in her own skin." That confidence was more magnetic than anything else. For him, this quality signaled maturity and emotional stability, qualities that made him feel at ease rather than burdened. Older men notice quickly if a woman can stand tall in her identity, if she can celebrate her strengths while also acknowledging her imperfections with grace, if she can enjoy life without needing someone else to constantly prop her up. The most attractive women in this season of life are those who radiate self-compassion, who have made peace with aging rather than fighting it, and who show by their presence that they are content with who they have become. Thing number 4. Your genuine interest in life and learning. The fourth quality older men notice is a woman's relationship with life itself. Whether she still greets the world with curiosity, or whether she has quietly retired from growth and discovery. Socrates once declared, "The unexamined life is not worth living," and men in their later years know the truth of that sentiment more deeply than ever. A man who has kept his own sense of curiosity alive does not want a partner who has stopped asking questions, stopped learning, or stopped exploring. Instead, he is drawn to women who remain engaged, who read and think, who are interested not only in sharing stories of the past, but in imagining new adventures for the future. James, a 67-year-old traveler, described meeting Patricia, who captured his attention with one simple question: "What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself recently?" That question sparked an entire evening of conversation, not about surface-level pleasantries, but about growth, reflection, and discovery. "I realized," he explained, "that so many of the women I had dated were simply content to exist. But Patricia made me feel alive again. She was curious, thoughtful, and interested in the world." Mature men pay attention to whether you ask thoughtful questions, whether you seek to understand new ideas, whether you can speak respectfully about differing perspectives, and whether you are willing to continue growing at a stage in life when some people have already stopped. This quality is magnetic because it signals vitality, depth, and the promise of a relationship that will remain stimulating rather than stagnant. To an older man who values growth, a woman who still embraces curiosity is irresistible. Thing number 5. Your emotional availability and openness. Finally, perhaps the most important quality older men notice is whether you are emotionally available. At this age, no one has escaped heartbreak, disappointment, or the scars of love lost. But there is a profound difference between someone who has done the healing work to remain open to connection and someone who has built walls so high that no one can ever reach her heart. Rumi wrote, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." Mature men sense quickly whether a woman is open, trusting, and hopeful, or whether she remains guarded, suspicious, and ready to retreat at the first sign of closeness. William, at 66, remembered his first conversation with Carol. I could tell within the first hour, he said, that she was emotionally available. She wasn't naive, but she wasn't protecting herself so tightly that I had to prove my worth at every step. She was willing to let me in, to share honestly, to connect without fear. That openness was more attractive than anything else. Emotional availability doesn't mean throwing caution to the wind or ignoring healthy boundaries. It means having done enough healing to approach new relationships with hope rather than cynicism, to trust without constant suspicion, and to allow yourself to be vulnerable without fear of collapse. Men notice if you're still carrying heavy baggage from the past, or if you're ready to step into something new with an open heart. At its core, emotional availability is what makes deeper intimacy possible, and without it, no amount of outer beauty can sustain connection. Why these 5 qualities matter more than appearance. Taken together, these 5 qualities, positive energy, kindness toward others, self-acceptance, curiosity about life, and emotional openness, form the foundation of what older men truly find magnetic. By the age of 60, most men have learned through experience that physical attraction fades and that relationships built only on appearances collapse under the weight of reality. What matters most to them now is whether a woman can bring peace instead of chaos, kindness instead of criticism, growth instead of stagnation, and openness instead of walls. These are the traits that determine whether life together becomes a source of joy or a source of strain. And here is the beautiful truth. These qualities often grow stronger with age, not weaker. As the years pass, we gain wisdom, resilience, and perspective. We learn the value of kindness. We stop chasing perfection and begin embracing authenticity. We discover that curiosity and emotional availability are choices we can cultivate no matter our stage of life. This means that you are not in competition with younger women at all. You are offering something deeper, richer, and far more compelling. Emotional depth, self-knowledge, wisdom, and genuine kindness. The natural selection process. Another hidden blessing of embodying these qualities is that they naturally filter out the wrong men. The ones who are only looking for superficial beauty will overlook you. And that is a gift, because the men who are drawn to your energy, your warmth, your self-acceptance, and your openness are precisely the kind of men who are capable of offering the deep, meaningful companionship you deserve. Rather than lamenting who passes you by, celebrate that these qualities are selecting for the kind of partner who will appreciate your true worth. So, the next time you prepare to meet someone new, resist the temptation to focus only on covering grey roots or choosing the most flattering outfit. Instead, center yourself in what truly matters. Walk into that moment with the confidence of a woman who radiates positive energy. Let your kindness toward others shine naturally. Embrace the self-acceptance you've worked so hard to cultivate. Engage with curiosity, asking thoughtful questions and showing genuine interest in life. And most importantly, open your heart to authentic connection. These qualities are not strategies or manipulations. They are the natural gifts you've cultivated through decades of living, learning, and growing. Trust in their power. They are what make you magnetic to the right man, the kind of man who is looking not for youth, but for depth. Remember, beautiful soul, what makes you truly attractive has only grown stronger with time. Let these qualities shine, and watch how the right man responds, not to an image of perfection, but to the authentic, magnificent woman you have become.